Hey buds, how's it going? I am MC, and in this video I'm going to be working with color for the first time in about 10 years. I did test things out just to make sure that I was capable of working with color before I wasted everybody's time, but other than a couple quick test illustrations, this is the first time in a very long time I will be using color, and more specifically, it's only the third time ever that I've used pencil crayons and alcohol markers. The first illustration that I did was this frog in a moleskin sketchbook, and the second illustration I did was this punk rock pickle on a piece of Canson mixed media paper. I wanted to do a couple different test illustrations on different types of paper just so I could see how the mediums worked on them, and the Canson mixed media paper won. So I got one of their 5.5 by 8.5 sketchbooks. It's got 60 pages, so hopefully by the end of it, it'll have 60 colored illustrations in it, and I'll be able to see how much I've improved from the first illustration to the last. So that's the sketchbook that I'm going to be starting today, and as usual, for the inspiration for the illustration that I do today, I'm going to be using my prompt jar. All right, alcohol, piercing, lighter, hockey, ring, monkey, kazoo, music, glasses, pomegranate. I think I'm going to start my prompt with monkey, and I might regret that because I've been trying to avoid drawing hair so far with markers. I think I'm leaning towards kazoo, and what would be a good third one? Monkey, kazoo. I think the third one is glasses. The first illustration in this sketchbook is going to be a kazoo playing monkey wearing glasses. And yeah, I'm excited to see what this is gonna look like. I'm excited to work with color again. And yeah, let's get into it. So with the sketch for this illustration, you're really getting my raw drawing process. It was my first time ever drawing a monkey, and I really didn't know how I wanted to do it. And honestly, I just don't think I really even knew how to draw a monkey at a base level at all. And when that kind of thing happens, I will just kind of scribble on the page and add things and take things away until I see something I like. And that's just how I kind of came up with this guy. I try and be very light-handed and use soft erasers so I don't overwork the page too much. It's not the prettiest of processes and maybe not the most practical, but I can get to a result that I'm happy with. And this sketchbook is just for experimenting, so it's all good. Trust the messy process and we'll get there eventually. I touched on it in the intro, and this is a 5.5 by 8.5 inch Canson mixed media sketchbook. When I decided that I wanted to learn how to work with markers and pencil crayons, I wanted to get a sketchbook so that it would be easy to flip through and hopefully be able to see how much I had improved at it as I go. I also wanted one that was a relatively small size. I wanted something that would force me to keep my illustrations on a smaller scale to avoid biting off more than I could chew too soon. So I decided to do a couple test drawings to see what some of my options would be, and I ended up liking the Canson mixed media paper the best. The marker ended up bleeding a lot more on the moleskin paper, and I actually ended up liking the way the color pencil performed on the more textured surface of the mixed media paper as well. And another benefit of this paper is the perforated pages. If I really like one of the illustrations I do in this sketchbook, it's super easy to remove the page if I need or want to. And working on this illustration, I was really happy with the paper again. I also really like this mixed media paper for working with graphite, so it doesn't really surprise me that I also like the way it performed with the markers and pencil crayon. Anyway, the paper is the boring part. So I'm using color in this video for the first time, kind of. I obviously did the couple test illustrations, but that was mostly just to make sure that I actually enjoyed using the markers and pencil crayons and that they could actually be a medium I had potential to get better at using. When I was starting to think about using color again, I did spend a day trying to paint. I used to paint quite a bit in college, but that was almost 10 years ago now, and when I tried to paint a little while ago, I didn't think I was very good at it, and honestly, I just didn't really enjoy doing it. And I couldn't see myself enjoying it enough to want to work to get good at it, so the motivation for that kind of fizzled out pretty quick. And before I got my hopes up and made all kinds of plans for marker and pencil crayon illustrations, I wanted to just make sure that it was actually something that I enjoyed. And luckily it was, because in the last year I've been really curious about adding color to my illustrations. Of course, I still really love the color palette that I always work with. I love the black and white with bits of red and gold, and it's probably always going to be the main medium I use. I still have loads of ideas for illustrations that I want to just do in graphite, but I think one of the things that really started to make me want to use color again was actually the prompt jar. I think while I was working on a lot of the illustrations that I've done with the jar, I just found myself thinking about how much more fun the ideas could be and how much more exciting the finished product would be with a little bit of color added to them. Like drawing a giraffe in a glass jar floating by a single balloon. Working on something like that, I just found myself thinking about how color could help accent those weird little details that are spit out of the prompt jar and how much more fun the end result could be. Also, right now, I do think I've peaked a little bit at working with graphite. I don't mean that as in I think I'm a master with it or something like that, but that I can see that there's room for me to improve at it, and I'm finding that I just don't know how to get there. And I think having a bit of a new challenge and working with a new medium could be very helpful for that. I do have an idea for my first large piece using markers and pencil crayons, so I do have something in mind that I'm working towards, and hopefully that will help me have a better understanding of the style that I'm trying to develop while I work through this sketchbook. Some of the main things that I want to focus on while I'm working on building an illustrative style with color is interesting and dynamic line work, which right now I really don't know what that means or what I want it to look like for my illustrations, but I've always wanted to be able to create eye-catching line work in my drawings. Something like using different thicknesses to get different effects for certain areas of my drawing, and I've just felt stunted with that for a while now and really unsure of how to elevate it in my work. So that's one of the main things that I'm hoping to develop and transfer over to my graphite illustrations. And the second thing is developing a better understanding of color theory. I think it'll be fun to have illustrations where I don't follow any rules and just get to go crazy and use all the bright and fun colors that I want. But I would also really like to learn how to use colors to my advantage and learn how to use them to set a mood or help tell a story. I'd like to learn how to use bounce light in illustrations and all kinds of stuff like that. And I've been working on the style that I draw in graphite for about 5 years, and I haven't even perfected that yet, so we'll see how long it takes me. But I do for sure know that I would eventually really like to get to the point where I can basically do anything that I can do in pencil in color as well. I'd like to be able to get to a point where I can draw people and letters and just really get to expand on all of the things I already like drawing. And I'm actually really excited to do my first color illustration of letters. I don't know what to expect at all. I feel like it's going to be very different from anything I've done before. But so far, it's just been a lot of fun to get to do some low-risk illustrations and just get to play with a new medium while I learn how to use it. I started using the markers as a mid-tone, just laying the color down flat, and then I focus on the shadows and highlights using pencil crayons. Also, I'm very aware now that I've used the word pencil crayons a lot in this video, and I think that's very Canadian, isn't it? Colored pencil? I don't know. But anyway, I have Prismacolor colored pencils and Oahu alcohol markers. It's their Kala series 60-pack of illustration tones that I'm using for this video. And I really like them. I was kind of surprised by how much I enjoyed using them, but it's very satisfying to completely fill in a chunk of space with one solid color and then get to build up the shades of that color with the pencil crayons, very similar to how I use graphite. Specifically, I think my favorite part of this illustration was the glasses. I like the effect that I was able to get just by layering some different shades of pencil crayon and being able to make the lenses look believable, like you're actually looking through something. And it's annoying because I actually lost the footage for this part of the video, so I can't show that part of the process. It is obviously just the same as when I'm building that shading everywhere else in the drawings, but it was just a little different in that area because it doesn't have the hard dark lines of the Micron pens. I really like just building that depth in the drawing with just the colors. It was a fun part of the process, so I'm sure I'll find more reasons to add that effect in future illustrations, and hopefully I just won't lose the footage next time. And speaking of the outlines, this was actually my first time using Micron pens too, and I really liked those as well. They were really smooth, really pleasant to use, and they don't bleed at all. They were really great. I really enjoyed them. The only thing that I used and I really didn't like were the Jelly Roll white gel pens. I've seen so many artists rave about these pens, and now that I've used them for all three of these illustrations, I really don't like them. I honestly just felt like they didn't work for me. I didn't think they layered well over things, and I'm not really sure how I want to use bright white highlights in my illustrations yet, however big or small, but I'm just really imagining being able to work with a solid white highlight, and I'm just not getting that at all. I'm thinking that right now I want to try something different, like finding some fine line white acrylic paint pens or something. But other than those bright white highlights, I'm really happy with the results I've been able to get so far. One of the main differences I've noticed about working with markers is that you can get much better results the more assertive you are, which is not like me as an artist at all, and it makes me very nervous because I'm not used to working with such unforgiving mediums. I haven't worked with a permanent medium in so long, so it's such a different mindset for me to work with, and it's still a little bit intimidating and scary. I like making jokes about working with graphite that I draw with an eraser just as much as I draw with a pencil, and I've said before I think it would really benefit my drawing process to be more confident and decisive, so I think working with a more unforgiving permanent medium could really help me start to build those two skills, and we'll see if I start to notice a difference in other areas of my work. I mainly notice it in my line work that I have a much easier time getting a straight, clean line when I'm confident, move quickly, and just go for it, which is really scary when you're not used to it. But it's definitely very satisfying and very freeing as well. Even though I'm not really used to it yet, there's a little bit less pressure when I know I just have to try something and see if it works. If it doesn't, oh well, just try again on the next page. And yeah, so far I'm just really enjoying the learning experience. It's something that I think I've been craving for the last little while now, and I'm really excited to keep experimenting and drawing some new things that I haven't drawn before. I definitely think I'm going to be able to create some things through this process that before I probably would have never imagined that I could have come up with. It's a very new way that I get to think about and plan my creative process, and I just get to have some fun. And I have so many more excuses to use my prompt jar, which is great because I love it. I definitely feel like I'm cheating by using it all the time, but I love it so much and I always have so much fun with it. And I really like the new way that I got to use it in this video. I got a little bit more freedom, and I really like the new way that I got to use that in this video too. I got a little bit more freedom. Why do I keep saying freedom? I got a little bit more freedom again. Oh my goodness. I feel like I have to keep that in the video because I've said it so many times. And I really like the new way that I got to use that in this video as well. I got a little bit more freedom. That's just... I think that's just how I say it now. I don't know. Okay, let's try this again. And I really like the new way that I used that in this video as well. I got a little bit more freedom. Ooh, I'm really struggling. And I really like the new way that I used that in this video as well. I got a little bit more freedom. Okay, I think I'm just cutting this line. Freedom. Is it a friggin' element on the periodic table? And I really like the new way I got to use that in this video as well. I got a little bit more freedom with that. I got to have a little bit more freedom. Okay, we're cutting that. It's gone. We're not saying it anymore. And I really like the new way I got to use that in this video as well. Getting to pick my favorites out of the bunch of prompts that came out. Done. No freedom. The monkey was the easy base to pick out of all the choices, and then when I saw glasses and a silly instrument like a kazoo, I just kind of instantly thought of those Party City guitar glasses, and the idea came together pretty quickly. So this is a monkey that definitely doesn't know how to play the kazoo. It's not my favorite drawing I've ever done, but I'm pretty happy with it. The thing I'm most happy with, I think, is the expression. I wanted him to look like he was struggling and blowing too much air into the kazoo and trying to get it to work, and it's pretty much exactly how I was picturing it. The main thing that I would change would be the whole design of the monkey. I didn't really know how I wanted to draw a monkey, like I said. I didn't know if I wanted to make it super realistic and reference a real monkey or make it really cartoony, so I think he's just kind of a weird mix of the two. I think the best way I can describe this guy is as a purple chimpanzee with a tail. And I actually really like monkeys and primates a lot. I like watching them and having existential crises about how they're just weird little furry humans. I think they're so interesting, so I was a little disappointed that I didn't have a little bit more inspiration for him. I'd like to get creative and not really worry about real types of monkeys and come up with a stylized way to illustrate them. I think I could draw a much cooler monkey than this. I just don't have any ideas right now. But if the inspiration strikes, I will try to draw a monkey again, and I'm looking forward to it. I think it would be something that would become kind of a regular in my illustrations if I could come up with a cool monkey design that I was happy with. But anyway, that's it for me for this one. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoy the rest of the video. Take care, and you'll see me in the next one.